Hello, my name's Hayden Schmidt. I'm a technology integration specialist with Alvin Independent School District, and today we're going to take a look at one of the most exciting resources that I have to introduce about Minecraft Education Edition. That is going to be the search tools for worlds and lessons and build challenges. So let's go ahead and get right to it. I'm starting at the Minecraft Education Edition website, and we are going to fairly predictably go to Class Resources, the second tab, and we're going to take a look at several sections here. So this section of video is likely to be a little longer than some of the others, but let's start with Find a Lesson. And under Find a Lesson, the first thing you're going to see are subject kits. And I'm going to browse by each of the subject matter, core curriculum areas and let you take a look at what's in them. We'll also take a look at art and design and computer science very briefly. There's a lot here. So if we take a look at language arts, for instance, we first see that there are a series of lessons that are associated with The Mountain by Max Brooks, having to do with setting and all kinds of things. There's a National Writing Project lessons. There's Storytime Coding. There are some suggestions to try these first if you haven't taken a look at any of the other lessons. And there's Fantastic Mr. Fox and Fairy Tale Reimagined are both lessons that I've glanced at that are pretty interesting. And then you'll always see at the end of each of the categories, you'll see some featured resources. And so you can see, for a language arts teacher, there are a few things to look at immediately. And if you want to search by specific keywords, that's also a possibility. Let's take a look back here. That would be done under Search All Lessons. But we're going to look at science next. Science also includes first some lessons with Sustainability City, and these will cycle from time to time what this first section of lessons contains. Now we're featuring next Build with Bees. This is the Try These First section for science. And for instance, the Minecraft maps of the eukaryotic cells and the element scavenger hunts and some of the other things that are built in the chemistry tutorial are just amazing. Study the International Space Station. We've got lessons here about the International Space Station and its structure and shape. We've got featured resources, and then there's an extra section down here that is teaching chemistry with Minecraft. I mentioned earlier the chemistry tutorial world. It is amazing, and any science teacher should definitely take a glance at least at the chemistry tutorial world. It actually has a tool bench where students can combine atoms and combine electrons and protons and neutrons in order to create atoms, and then they can take those atoms to another crafting station where atoms can be combined, hydrogen and oxygen for instance, to make water, and then that water can be taken to a third crafting station and reacted with other compounds to produce the outcomes of chemical reactions. It is really an amazing resource. I don't want to just sit here and talk about it. Let's go back to science and take a look at social studies next, which would be the history and culture lessons. History and culture also, features Try These First. And there's a section there, Exploring Ancient Egypt and Lessons on Egypt and Egyptian Culture, World War I and what was happening, a series of lessons that have to do with World War I. And then at the tail end of the social studies section, we have a different set of featured resources. In this case, the original set of features were not a series of lessons that were all related to the same thing as they were in some of the other core curriculums. So we get kind of two featured bites at the apple here for social studies. Coming back to math, we're going to take a quick look at the math lessons. I'm going to zip past because the Common Core standards aren't going to be super critical for us, but if we take a look here, we will find that the Texas standards and alignments are right here waiting for us to be able to line these up with what we would like to do with our students. These are 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade alignments that are built in right here, so particularly easy for those grade levels, but those should point us in the right direction for looking at higher level alignments. Try it first for math, lessons, the subtraction world, the decimal and fraction garden. There are then a series also of featured resources here. And if you're interested in specific topics, teaching fractions, teaching area and volume, clearly for a cube-based, pixel-based world, the square arrangements make it very easy to do things like represent parts of a whole. And a number of other mathematic concepts that make it really a powerful tool for teaching math, area and volume, all those things. Going back, we want to touch on the lessons that are available for art next. And just like all the others, there are a lot of lessons available. There are lessons available for music as well. There is the ability for each block to emit a tone. So as you arrange blocks and run down the line of blocks, they will play a song as you run across them. Again, the possible applications of Minecraft are broad, in my opinion. If you are interested in building some coding opportunities for students into your lessons, or if you're interested in creating a coding club or doing some work along those lines, there are ample opportunities to use Minecraft to find and use those kind of lessons and to support an after-school coding club or a morning coding club if you are interested in doing something like that. These are just the things that are available under the Find a Lesson section of the class resources. I'm going to take a very brief look at Find Worlds and Find Challenges because those are going to work very much the same way, and they are also very broad in what you can find. So the classroom challenges are short assignments for students that should be able to be accomplished in a reasonable amount of time. You might give them to students to do over the weekend. The worlds that are produced could generally be turned in as an attachment to a Google Classroom assignment. Sometimes these can be used in class. I would be hesitant to use them until you had students comfortable with using Minecraft efficiently so that they can get logged in and create something and get logged out. Some of the classroom build challenges are longer than others. Just make sure you take a look at them and pick one that is going to be appropriate for your use. Find Worlds is similar to Find Lessons, and I can do keyword searches or I can look for worlds based on just whatever is interesting, popular, or being featured at the time. The primary difference between Find Lessons and Find Worlds is that when I go to find a lesson, and let's go ahead and take a deeper look at a lesson right now. For instance, one of the science lessons that I'm going random at this point, so we're just going to have to see what we get. And let's say we want to take a look at the lesson for sustainable food production. Lessons usually include support materials in addition to just the world file itself. So here we have a lesson plan that includes guiding ideas and student activities and performance expectations. There are some external references here. There's a complete lesson plan to be downloaded that will include the world file likely, or the world file will be accessible here by downloading the assets. It'll give you everything that's associated with this lesson. Worlds, when you search for worlds, do not necessarily have this kind of lesson-oriented documentation attached to them. So if you find a world that you want to use, you're typically going to have to provide the commentary and the structure and the rubric for what you expect students to create yourself. If you search for a lesson and you find a lesson, you're likely to find some or all of those resources already created for you. Now, I will warn you that we should keep in mind this is a public creation forum. And while it is moderated by Microsoft, and you're not going to find anything with inappropriate content here, what you may find is that there's a broad variety in the quality of content based on how dedicated the creator was to the quality that they put here on the website. So do make sure that you check and look deeply into all of the support materials for a lesson that you anticipate you may be interested in using, because some lessons are more complete and are better structured than others. I really do want to thank you for coming and taking a look at this portion of class resources and looking at how you can search for lessons, worlds, and challenges. We're going to use a later video opportunity in order to see how those worlds are actually imported into Minecraft for your use. Here we're just taking a look at where you can search and where you can find them and where you can explore some of your possibilities. So thanks for taking a look at this video. I hope it was worth your time, and I hope you'll find it worthwhile to come back and look at some of the others that we're creating. Have a great day.